Congratulations, Bono. It appears your record is intact.
I had a feeling
bed
it would
of
be.
nails,
Wait,
she
stop.
makes me wait.
Dad, your old crap counts.
And I
Bono never took
wait.
a second crap that beat yours.
For you.
Get him out of here.
What are you talking about, young man?
Somebody's been keeping a secret. Bono was never the record holder. He's the record.
It's not true. Kill
I'm
that
gonna
kid.
prove
I want him dead.
that Bono's evil. And you give yourself away. And you give Hi, everybody. Now, you're going to see Bono differently. Or not. I don't know. So this was the cover of one of his first albums. It was called Boy. And for those of you that don't know, I mean, everybody knows U2, but it's an Irish rock band from Dublin formed in 1976. The group consists of Bono. It's his full name that he goes by. He's done this for a long time. You know who else did that? Was Stalin. You know, you have a name, and then you make everyone call you by a different name that's only one name. The Edge, lead guitar, keyboards, and backing vocals, Adam Clayton and Larry Mullins Jr. And I have no beef with any of those guys at all. They might be... I've always enjoyed The Edge's guitar playing. Initially rooted in post-punk, U2's musical style has evolved throughout their career, yada, yada. All right, the band formed as teenagers while attending Mount Temple Comprehensive School, and they had limited musical proficiency. Within 4 years, they signed with Island Records and released their debut album, Boy. For those of you that have done deep dives into some of these things, that's already a red flag that people that didn't have a lot of musical ability or history release an album titled Boy, and they're quickly shot into the mainstream. That's a red flag, but that's not incriminating. But I'm just saying that's the start. Okay, so the same Boy was used for their cover War, and then another Boy was used for Songs of Innocence. So this is what cued me into something might be going on. And the boys on the right are the same Boy, and he's a grown-up now and a photographer himself, and he has some things to say about Bono. And we'll get to that in a little bit. But the guy, he's a fascinating boy who became a man. Kind of a legend. All right, so Songs of Innocence. All right, so this album was sent to 500 million Apple users. Do I have that article just to get the details right? It's all right if I don't. I can just kind of sum it up. So, and another thing that is a red flag about Bono. Bono called all Trump voters Klansmen. He also, he says the most over-the-top, just absurd, crazy nonsense, and that's usually a sign that someone is hiding something. It's one thing to think that someone's a buffoon or you're against someone's politics, but to say all the voters are Klansmen and things like this. Let me find like this article. Bono on gender inequality. Poverty is sexist. Men can't step back and leave it to women alone to clean up the mess we've made. U2 singer writes. So he's a male apologist and a racist. And those are red flags. If he thinks that men are bad and he's a man, he's telling you something. If he thinks white people are bad and he's white, he's telling you something. There's people that have absurd self-hatred like that are trying to tell you something. So, Songs of Innocence, and I'll read you something that someone wrote to me that I just thought was great. That's one of the best things about my job and you guys, and just the direct connection to you guys with streaming, is I get to interact with so many of you and have so many good perspectives. So I'll read one that really stood out to me. So this album was sent without people's permission to 500 million Apple users. They didn't download it. They didn't want it, but it was forced upon them, which is what these people do in all areas of their life. They want to control the economy. They want to control sex a lot of times, because a lot of these people are legitimate rapists, and we'll get to who he hangs out with. And the simple act, I remember when that happened to me and Age of Innocence was sent to my phone without me asking. And I know a lot of people felt the same way. There was a weird, dirty feeling to it, where it's like, I didn't ask for this album. Why did you send me this album? Why is the cover of this album so weird? And I'm not a photographer, and I'm typically not that paranoid. I've gotten more paranoid, but it's for a reason. Like, I naturally am a fairly trusting person to a fault a lot of times. I don't a lot of times see evil in places that it's obvious. I'm getting better at it because the world kind of needs you to at this point. Like, given what we now know about a lot of these people, this is not paranoia. So anyway, someone wrote to me this: that U2 cover is an illustration about how they won't let go of their practice of pedophilia. The boy represents a culture that won't embrace U2's form of love, and the man represents how the culture might have beaten the pedophiles down to their knees, but no matter what, they're going to hold on tight. Gross, S-H-I-T. I'm going to keep this one clean, just in case anyone wants to share it to a family member that might not enjoy curse words. Anyone who understands artistic imagery sees that immediately. They gave the album out for free, but iTunes put it into everyone's phone and iTunes library with no notification or request from the users first. Bear in mind, people that subscribe to my channel and hit the alert button will not be alerted when I stream. They're asking for me. They're asking YouTube, please tell me when Owen's on. I want to watch. And they're like, no, we know better than that. And then I'll be kicked off. I'm banned from Twitter. People are like, hundreds of thousands of people are like, I want to follow Owen Benjamin. And they're like, no, but here's Bono hugging a boy. That's so weird. It's like, I'll put out specials for free, but I don't make you have it. I don't just send it to your phone without your permission. That's a bizarre thing to do. And it gets so much worse. We're just getting into it. All right, here we go. This person went on to say, the idea is that boy lovers are in your community, whether you want them or not. And unless somebody points it out, most people aren't even going to notice they're in the community. And the people who notice shouldn't get mad unless they're the victims. The suggestion being that boy loving is innocent. The idea is that U2 is totally innocent because even if you don't want their music in your libraries, you shouldn't be mad about it because it didn't cost you anything. Just because their music, pedophilia, is in your library phone, your community, you don't have to listen. Plug your ears, look the other way, and pretend it's not a problem. Super creepy meta stuff, but that's what art is for. Sick F's. F words. I'm going to sound like Shapiro today. F word, B word, C word, T word. So, and I got a lot of letters from photographers that were like, oh yeah, that's blatantly sexualizing. This is blatantly sexualizing a child. That's how it's lit. That's everything about that. That's a glamour shot. Okay, so Songs of Innocence is creepy. So, but people are like, but he's so nice. He's so giving. He's Christian. Okay, he now has a stage persona that's literally a demon. And they're like, oh, well, that's now, Big Bear. That's just what he does now. What about before? Okay, this is him covering Helter Skelter years ago, holding the Christian cross upside down. And for those of you that don't understand that symbolism, that represents Satanism. You hold the cross upside down, and he's singing Helter Skelter. And Helter Skelter was written before the Manson murders. I was wrong about that in one of the streams. I got the timeline wrong. But when Bono covered it, it was absolutely associated with the Manson murders, and where a pregnant woman was stabbed to death and her baby killed, like an 8-month pregnant woman, Sharon Tate. And that song forever became associated with the Mansons, with Charlie Manson. And even the biography of that was called Helter Skelter. So he's singing Helter Skelter, holding the Christian cross upside down. This is his persona on stage. He's a demon. Okay, still good, all good. And don't get me wrong, there's death metal bands and stuff that I would not, my hackles wouldn't go up over it. Like if there's like Led Zeppelin is a perfect example. Led Zeppelin seems like they sing about Tolkien, but they also do like weird symbolism stuff. I don't get the same vibe from them because it was so obvious. It was so like in your face. that it was almost like a weird thing they were playing with versus actual worshipers of Satan. That's my instinct. The fact that Bono associates himself with all these like charities and goodwill and all this stuff, and they branded themselves as Christians, as Catholics coming out of Ireland, and these like, it was always seen as clean, like family friendly, like U2. It was the thing you could show your children. And not that I have anything against homosexuals, but here is Bono and Liam Gallagher making out. Why do I? But Big Bear, there's nothing wrong with being gay. Right. There's something wrong with misrepresenting yourself. I have more of a problem with like weird closet gay guys than I do just gay guys a lot of times, because hiding something that overt and taking so much time to hide something so pivotal about who you are, it makes me think, what else are you hiding? Okay, so he's a Christian, right? No. This is at a U2 concert. Coexist is not Christian. Coexist is a globalist thing. It means that you put all the religions together, that there are no unique religions. It's the same thing they're trying to do to nations. That coexist, you have Islam and Judaism and Christianity and Buddhism and everything. It's just all the same. And so you could say, oh, well, that's just a concert. It's art. Okay, this is him with a blindfold on and Coexist blindfolding him. Coexist is a very, very absurd notion. That's absurd. You can't coexist like that. The only way you can have religious freedom in a nation like America is you respect the other religion's autonomy. If you say to a Christian, oh, no, you have to be Jewish and Muslim now for us to coexist. We're all the same. It's all a one world religion. That's not coexisting. That's the erasing of religion. That's the opposite. And we'll see a lot of these upside down things that Bono does. So he is a major, major environmentalist. But it was reported that U2's massive carbon footprint called into question. U2 and Bono's long-held commitment to save the planet has come into question after it emerged that they have a carbon footprint big enough to fly the band to Mars and back. He has a giant yacht. He has a jet. He's the richest, I think he's the richest rock star in the world. He was worth $800 million in 2012. So he's just awful, just an awful, awful person. And Bono's Anti-Poverty Foundation 1 is under pressure to explain its finances after it was revealed that only a small percentage of the money it raised reached the needy. The nonprofit organization set up by the U2 frontman received almost $9.6 million weird non-American things. What is that, a pound? I don't know, some nonsense money. And donations in 2008, but handed out only 118,000 nonsense monies to good causes. So he gave 1.2% of what he took in. So all these good people, this is why I don't tango with charities. I will give people money directly that email me if I kind of have the vibe that they're in our community and they're not scamming me and I can help them get out of a hole. I do that all the time because I believe that you should give at least 10% of what you make to charity. That's a foundational thing that I believe. That's one reason why I can be against socialism and socialized not things by the government and not be a hypocrite, because I believe that we should personally help people that need help and not incentivize a bad lifestyle only so that you can own their votes. It's a whole other conversation. But one of the reasons is, think about how many people believed in U2 and gave them money. And he kept 98.8% of all the money. So if you gave Bono $1 to give to poor people, he kept more than 98 cents of that dollar. Like the take a penny, leave a penny was what got to the poor people. So who got most of the money? A guy with a jet